Welcome to Raw Sports Takes. This is today, September 24th, 2024. Today's episode, it's just like the title implies, Cowboys suck, our Bengals cook, and a week 3 recap of all the games we have this NFL weekend. If I sound a little bit under the weather, it's because I am a little bit under the weather. I was going to do this podcast live yesterday, but I ended up doing it today because actually there was some pretty decent games yesterday. Sunday night, and also I worked yesterday, so I couldn't get to it. I ended up picking up overtime. But anyways, in today's episode, just like the title implies, Cowboys suck. Cowboys are terrible. I'll start off that week with that. So if any Cowboys fans and you're sensitive, I wouldn't listen to this podcast right now because I'm about to go off on them. I'm about to go off on the owner, go off on Dak Prescott, go off on Michael Parsons, go off on Mike Zimmer, go off on the whole damn organization. You guys are fucking pathetic. You're the worst ran organization in the whole NFL. Worse than the damn Panthers. Damn, the Panthers at least have the sense, have the freaking intelligence to put Andy Dalton in to bench Bryce Young actually to see if they had something. They at least have that intelligence to do that. You don't even have that. You keep up with the same fucking coach that sucks balls. You pay the quarterback that he hasn't done anything in the playoffs and pay him the most money ever. And he ends up sucking again. And, of course, he padded the stats there at the end. And you're going to tell me, oh, he had his 300 yards. Oh, he doesn't play defense. I don't give a rat's ass. At the end of the day, you have to convert on those third downs when you're down 7-3. You got to score points per points. We all know that defense is not built to withstand coming back. That defense is not built. It's built to take a lead, and then the pass rush attacks you the whole time. But it's not built to actually stop people when they're up a score. And that's exactly what happened in Baltimore. Baltimore decided to say, you guys are a bunch of pathetic losers, a bunch of weaklings, and we're just going to run the ball over you and be physical with you. And you're not going to be physical because you're a finesse defense. You're too small. You can't beat us. We're going to man up, and we're going to destroy you. And that's exactly what the Baltimore Ravens did, especially that run by Derrick Henry where he just ran through the middle and threw that rookie down to the floor like a little bitch. Welcome to the NFL, rookie. That's exactly what happened. That's what a grown man looks like when he runs the damn ball. That's exactly what happened to the Cowboys that game. I don't care. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I am angry, and I am frustrated, and this organization sucks. And it starts off from the top. Jerry Jones, you're a pathetic general manager. If you actually had some freaking... I'm just going to put it this way. You're old as shit. You don't know what the hell is going on in the NFL. And for you to say, oh, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry. Yeah, you couldn't afford Derrick Henry for the same simple reason that you end up paying a quarterback that's mediocre a bunch of money. And that's why you couldn't afford him. Also, another thing about that is that as a general manager, you haven't won anything. At the end of the day, it's Jimmy Johnson who built that team. And then after Jimmy Johnson left, you have been pretty much a carcass of the 90s. And you live off that. And you're not good. You're not a good general manager. I can run the damn team better than you can. First thing I would do is we'll fire Mike McCarthy in a heartbeat, trade Dak Prescott or get rid of him, and then go on there and build from there. Michael Parsons, too. He plays a little frustrated there. He's a little younger. I still have hopes he might be put it together, but at the end of the day, he looks just like Dak Prescott. Shows up to little games, shows up to games that don't matter. Like he's going to show up to this Giants game probably Thursday, have 3 sacks, and everybody's going to talk about how great he is. How great of a defensive player. He's the defensive player of the year. And then when it comes to the playoffs or a big primetime game when you really need a sack, he's just going to freaking, he's going to fold it. And then he's going to blame it because he couldn't get through the line or he was being held. Which he is. Yeah, I honestly got to say that he does get held a lot and they don't call it. But it was just ridiculous. And then for Jerry Jones to say we're happy with the debt that we have. No, you don't. You're not happy. You probably take a lot of Ambien or probably a lot of drugs to go to sleep because there's no way if I'm the general manager that I been sleeping well at night. But then again, maybe you're not. Maybe the honest truth is you don't give a shit about this team. You don't give a shit about the fans. And all you want to do is just make money. And that's what you have done. And if that's the case, yes, you do have the most money. You're the most valued franchise. So if that's your actual number one objective, then yes, you have done it. You have done that. But don't give me this bullshit that you're in it to win championships and that you all about it and you're all in. You're not. You're not. And stop lying to us and sell the team. Just go ahead and sell the team and be happy and go retire whatever the hell you want to do with your helicopter. But other than that, it was pathetic. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a Cowboys fan. It really is. For the simple reason because you actually think there might be something there and it is not. It's actually a crash and burn. Crash and burn early though. This time, usually crashes and burn towards the end of the year or the playoffs. So, in that sense, it's kind of I guess I could be happy about that. But other than that, it was really pathetic. I don't know what else to say. I'm at the point where I'm embarrassed to even say I'm a Cowboys fan. Been a Cowboys fan my whole life, pretty much my whole 37 years here on Earth, and it's just sad. It's just sad. I can't give you no more about that game other than Baltimore pretty much went in there, punched you in the mouth, and you couldn't recover. And the last quarter, people were gonna say they tried to come back, but let's be honest. Whoever thought the Cowboys were gonna come back and win that game, you're as delusional as Jerry Jones is. If this is a competitive team. Other than that, well, I don't know what else to say. I really don't. I'll skip on that one. We'll move on. It's a very interesting season. It's in a sense of there's really not a dominant team out there in the NFL right now. There's no team that you look at and you say, there's no dominant team that you say, oh wow, this team is really good. This team really has everything. It has it all together. I mean, you have some 3-0 teams. You have the Buffalo Bills look really good. This past Monday night game. Or maybe just the Jaguars are really bad. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I don't know what the hell happened to you. You were I believed in you when I saw you in high school and saw you in college, and when you were playing with Clemson in Alabama, and you were destroying Alabama there, and you actually looked the quarterback of the future. You had the mobility, you can move, you can throw, you had everything, and all of a sudden it's just like you have brain farts and you just can't do it anymore. Like you really can't score, you can't move the ball, you have a worse passer rating than Daniel Jones, which is incredible to me because Daniel Jones sucks, and everybody knows Daniel Jones sucks. But at least you had the potential of doing all that, and you still that. Josh Allen's playing MVP level. There's no more to say. Is it sustainable to me to be him running like that and running violently like the way he does? I don't know. We'll figure it out this season. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. For the most part, history tells us no, that's not sustainable, and eventually he will get injured. I don't know if Sean McDermott the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, went with the thought of like, fuck it, we're going this with short term. We're gonna just it's gonna be all about Josh Allen. He's gonna run the ball, throw short passes, and we're gonna let him do whatever he wants to do and go wild out there, and forget the future. If he gets hurt, I don't care. Because I guess head coach, if he does bad this year, he will get fired. So that could be it, part of it. The other team is 3-0. That's also I don't think it's complete. It's Kansas City. Kansas City has a great defense. It's playing great, well. It's an interesting game there. I think for the most part, Atlanta Falcons lost that game more than anything else. If you're a Kansas City hater, you kind of look at those penalties, the Bengals penalty, which was late, and then you look at this one, there was not called a penalty on Kyle Pitts at the end zone. And you kind of get a little bit frustrated, and you kind of wonder if they're getting some favoritism there. But I don't know what to tell you. As long as Patrick Mahomes is on that team, they're going to be competitive, and you could practically almost bet on them winning the Super Bowl every year. You might win two out of 3 or 2 out of 4 there every year. As long as Patrick Mahomes, he's very close to getting into that GOAT conversation, or he is in the GOAT conversation, but he might actually eventually in a decade pass up Tom Brady is the GOAT, which is kind of interesting to me in a sense that Tom Brady, was just declared the GOAT like not a few years ago, and all of a sudden someone's going to pass you up. Kind of sad, but I don't feel bad for Tom Brady. He's as rich as can be and famous, and now he mediocre broadcaster. I'm sorry, Tom Brady, but you are. I would have thought by week 3 you kind of get it, but listening to you, you ain't no Tony Romo, I'll tell you that much. Not only because I'm a Tony Romo fan, but and taking that bias away, Tony Romo is pretty damn good at his announcers. He's kind of more like what is it? The hell is his name from NBC without Michaels? Whatever his name is. He's just pretty much mediocre, Tom Brady, in broadcasting. But needless to say, Kansas City, they're not complete. It looks like they're missing some weapons. It looks like they're missing a running back. Of course, the running back just got hurt recently, but still, they don't look quite. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has not played quite well. Like if you look at it, he's played decent, but hasn't played to Patrick Mahomes level. And then we got Travis Kelsey, who's had what 39 yards catching the whole season. 39 yards. That's damn. There's some tight ends that catch more than that in one pass. But um, you know you're gonna put it together. Andy Reid's eventually gonna put it together. That team is gonna get better. So if you can't beat them now, watch out for Kansas City. They might actually three-peat. As far as the Atlanta Falcons, they look good. They look decent enough. They kept up. They kept with the Kansas City. They had a chance there to win it. I think they just did some bonehead plays there on that third down and fourth down. They were very predictable on the run. I think they, for the most part, on that fourth down, they should have let Kirk Cousins have it. I mean, you're paying the guy a lot of money. Let him go. Let him go. Let him see what he can do. You're paying that man money. Let's see that for a reason. So let's see if he can make it happen. So that was kind of sad on that part. Another sad team that it's kind of the wheels are coming off. Seems like San Francisco, the wheels are coming off there. Seems like the offseason is catching up to them. Like I said, I hate to bet against Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a beast. I really thought he was going to come out as a series or two in that game where they were about to hit him. He's getting hit a lot. And at one point I thought, man, you need to take that man out before he gets hurt. And then he's really out for the rest of the year. But he had sliced and diced that 49ers secondary like with a bunch of no-name wide receivers, Tutu Atwell, DeMarcus Robinson, and then that rookie Jordan Whittington from UT. Holy smokes. He did all that without Puka and without without Cooper Kupp. Sorry, Cooper Kupp. So that was pretty amazing to watch, especially they were down 14-0, but they just came back and Sean McVay knew what to do. They made the right play calls. Our coach really outcoached the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, in that game and really made it happen. And all of a sudden, you have the Rams and the 49ers at 1-2. Rams got life, and this must be an interesting NFC East, not NFC West. Sorry, it's going to be interesting NFC West now. You got San Francisco 1-2, Los Angeles 1-2. We got undefeated Seattle. And then you also have still Kyler Murray, and I think they're also 1-2, the Cardinals, from what I remember. They put up a fight this last game, actually. We're talking Cardinals. They put up a fight there against the Lions. The Lions got their shit together. They grind out a game, which is one of those games that you really, if you're a Lions fan, you really want to see that. You want to see them grind it out. You want to see David Montgomery and Gibbs really run the ball, and they ran the ball really well. Jared Goff didn't look too good. Jared Goff seems like he's kind of coming down a little bit. He's thrown quite a bit of interceptions there. So that's not looking good. So I don't know what's going on, but the best formula for Lions, if you're a Lions fan, if you believe in the Lions, is running the ball. And they did that there with Montgomery and Gibbs. So they look very well. Cardinals are looking a lot better than most people thought they were going to come in the season. I thought they were going to finish last, and I still think they finished last place there in the NFC West. But other than that, Lions, you got to congratulate them. You got to do a good job. They came back, bounced back from that loss in the previous week, and they actually grinded out. So as far as that game goes, that's one. The surprise game, actually, of the week was really, actually, want to say Panthers versus Texans. Not to pat myself on the back, but I had Minnesota with the with the win over the Texans. For one simple reason and one simple reason only, I'm Brian Flores. I believe Brian Flores is a hell of a defensive coordinator. I said it at the beginning of the year, and I said it before. If you listen to the last podcast on the picks, I said that Brian Flores just knows how to coach defenses, and he definitely put a number on C.J. Stroud. There was a point before where they had like 3. And then again, it helps you playing in Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, have a really good home field advantage. They're kind of like the 12-man version of the Seattle Seahawks. They get really loud. It gets really intense in there, and it's a dome, of course. And they really did a number on them. I don't know if you watched some of the game, but there was like 3 false starts in a row by the Texans. So that was pretty cool. And C.J. Stroud was just confused, did not know what the hell to do. You got to give it to I said it was a revenge game for Texans, because there's some Texans that played for Minnesota last year, and there were some Minnesota Vikings that played for the Texans last year. But the biggest winner was Jonathan Greenard, who played for He played there last year for the Texans, and really he got 3 sacks and 6 quarterback pressures. So he really turned his game up. I guess it was more he felt like he did get that disrespected by the Texans last year for letting him go, and he went to Minnesota and definitely got his revenge there. Sam Darnold actually played very good again. Probably next to Josh Allen, he's probably the second best quarterback in the NFL right now, which is kind of weird to say. Also, another weird thing about Sam Darnold that a lot of people don't know is he's actually younger than Joe Burrow. Yeah, I know. Sam Darnold's been in the league for a very long time, but he's actually younger than Joe Burrow. Look it up. It's pretty crazy to think about, and it makes you think maybe he is the future. If Kevin O'Connell keeps him going, maybe Sam Darnold, all he needed was an elite. Well, it does help. You have the best wide receiver in the whole NFL, in Justin Jefferson. He had 6 receptions, 81 yards, a touchdown. So he looked really incredible. Again, he looked very open, which is kind of crazy to think about because really that's probably the only weapon besides him and Aaron Jones, the running back there in Minnesota, that they have an offense. But yet he made it happen, and they're undefeated. You got to give it to them. Minnesota has made the 49ers look pathetic one year, the last week, and now they make the Texans look bad. And if you look back, and most experts thought that the Texans could go to the Super Bowl and the 49ers go to the Super Bowl, but Minnesota has other ideas, and Minnesota's been playing very well, which is incredible to watch. So let's see if Minnesota keeps it up. I think they're for real. I think something happened there. Another crazy stat that I read the other day or heard was that in the 6 years that Kirk Cousins was there, Kirk Cousins was never 3-0. Never has started season 3-0 there. So maybe Minnesota made the right investment there and taking Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold was a long shot in reality. I think they really were going to draft a quarterback. That was always their plan, and they did draft JJ McCarthy. Unfortunately, JJ McCarthy got hurt. What he would have started this year, I don't know, especially with Sam Darnold's hot start. But now, technically Sam Darnold does not have to look over his shoulder anymore to see if JJ McCarthy's coming, because he's going to play all year, and JJ McCarthy's not. But interesting. I think Texans bounce back this week coming up. There's too much talent there, too good of a head coach. So that was a surprise. I think one of the biggest surprises games there. Another big surprise is actually, to me at least, the Giants over the Browns, which leads me to believe again that maybe, because the only win that the Browns have had has been against Jacksonville. Maybe Jacksonville is that terrible. I think everybody gets fired. From what I have read and from rumors have said that the owner is pissed, and they have never seen him that angry. Like, he's usually a well-mannered guy, doesn't get very emotional, but they say he was very angry during that game, so maybe he ends up firing everybody. The head coach, at least. He's going to get fired, I think. Because you invested way too much money in Trevor Lawrence, and no results have come out of it. But needless to say, Giants ended up beating the Browns, and beating the Browns bad, which was pretty... the score is 21-15, but I think it looks worse than that. I think the game was a lot worse than that. Deshaun Watson looked terrible. But then, to the defense of Deshaun Watson, which he's not well like, he is missing 3 offensive linemen, 3 starters. So that kind of sucks for him. 3 starters missing there. And then Neighbors, on the other side, Malik Neighbors looked like a star. He actually looked like a great player there. He looked really good. And Jones finally, I guess, figured it out that as long as I throw that ball to that guy, there's a chance he's going to get catch, and there's a chance it's going to be a good game. But other than that, that's another big one. The other sad game to watch, as far as if you're a fan of quarterbacks and you want to watch quarterback play, which I do. I want to see good quarterback play. Chicago Bears versus the Colts. Probably the worst coached team besides the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably the Chicago Bears. The Bears, Caleb Williams is terrible. I mean, he's getting sacked every single game. Like, he's always under pressure. He's thrown a few throws here and there that look good, but god damn, like, poor guy. He threw for 363, which is more than the first 2 games combined, but he threw his first NFL touchdown pass, which that was kind of funny because they were both fighting the receiver, which Roma Dunze and him were fighting over who wanted to keep the ball because it's their first touchdown for each one. But the Colts that were getting a lot. I mean, a lot of pressure on them, and the Colts didn't even have their best defensive player, which was kind of weird. So that leads me to believe that Bears offensive line is terrible. The play calling is terrible, and there's really, I think, well, I guess they're gonna get fired. At least I would. I would fire the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and I would make a phone call if I was a general manager of the Chicago Bears for Ben Johnson over there in Detroit and ask him how bad does he want to be a head coach, the offensive coordinator there for the Detroit Lions. How bad does he want to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears and coach Caleb Williams? Anthony Richardson, like I said from the beginning, he's just a project. He's really a really raw project to coach. He makes terrible throws, really bad throws. You're like, what the hell was that? I think he was at the beginning of the game. I think he's 10 for 20, 167 yards and 2 interceptions, if that's correct. And he almost threw another pick there in the first half. I think that was the first half. Yeah, that's the first half stats. That was terrible. But then he throws a really nice ball through Alec Pierce, which looked really nice. It's weird. It's weird to watch him because he can throw really the prettiest passes you've seen in deep passes in the game, and then he throws some terrible throws and he just gets picked off all the time. I think he actually leads the NFL right now in picks. He has 6 picks, which in 3 games, well, that's going to average to what? There's 17 games. So it's going to be 3 weeks. He's going to get to like the 15, 18 mark of picks. So he's probably going to lead the NFL in picks. And it looks like he will. Just the way he just sometimes. And another thing about him is that if I was a coach of the Colts, it's like, you got to protect yourself, Anthony Richardson. You are a big guy. I get it. You're almost like Cam Newton size. But Cam Newton got hurt a lot also there. But some of those, he just goes into the safety and the linebacker, and like he's trying to truck people, which I admire if you're a running back or a wide receiver even, but not my quarterback. Not my quarterback that I selected 4th overall last year. No. And not my quarterback that got hurt last year, actually, for the same reason. So somebody teach him how to slide and to calm down there with trying to truck people. Like, that's insane. There's other surprises there. There was the Eagles versus the Saints. I have more questions after the game than I have answers. I really thought that maybe the Saints beat them, and then we say that the Eagles are pretenders, and New Orleans actually is a contender. But now I still think both of them are pretenders at this point. Derek Carr went back to I guess there's a joke going around that says dirt Carr, which is kind of funny. Oh, broke Carr. But I don't know what to make of these two teams. I want to say one of them has to be good, right? But for them to just score 15 and 12 points, that's like that's not even a junior high game, really. Like, that's like a Pop Warner game maybe, but even Pop Warner games are more high scoring than that. It's not like you can blame the weather on that one either. It just looks sad. Like, but Philadelphia does have one player in this Saquon Barkley that can ball. And they are missing a lot of players. They're missing A.J. Brown, and then Smith ended up getting hurt on that vicious hit. So maybe Eagles put it together later on and actually make a run and play better. Jalen Hurts gets a little bit better there. Derek Carr went back to being Dirk Carr or Bro Carr from last year. He looked pathetic. He looked really bad. And there was no big plays anymore. Alvin Kamara, they just pretty much he went from unstoppable the previous week to you look at Alvin Kamara from 2 years ago. He cannot score. We'll see what happens there. Maybe the Eagles defense just decided to stop playing around and actually play better. It's funny to me because the Eagles defense is mostly Georgia Bulldogs for most of it. And they have like 4 or 5 players that they used to play for Georgia. But they actually got their shit together, and maybe they decided to say, we're not going to get embarrassed like the Eagles, like the Cowboys got embarrassed. So I don't know what to make of these two teams. I don't know if they're either going to be contenders or they're both pretenders, but we'll see as the season goes on. Talking about vicious hits and talking about just being physical, two teams met up. They're very, very physical right now. Jim Harbaugh's Jim Harbaugh's Los Angeles Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now talk about getting hit in the mouth and throwing haymakers at each other. Now there's two tough teams in there. I think I don't know what to make of Justin Fields, to be honest with you. Justin Fields, I guess they told him not to throw the ball outside the numbers and don't throw it anywhere down the middle. But he did make some really good throws there down the middle, especially that one where they scored that touchdown to Calvin Austin, I believe. He looked really good there. He hit him right in stride, and he ran it for a touchdown to keep the game away from the Chargers there. But I think the star of the game, of this at least game, or at least in the first 3 weeks, has to be the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I said at the beginning of the year they're probably the best defense, them in Cleveland. But Cleveland has fallen off, mostly because maybe Myles Garrett's hurt and because they're always playing from behind. But that Pittsburgh defense has allowed no more than 10 points in all 3 games. So, in reality, shit, that's pretty damn good. That means pretty much this Pittsburgh defense to go up to the offense and be like, bro, I just need 4 field goals. That's all I need. Don't worry about the rest. We'll keep the other two. We'll keep the other offense on check. Unfortunately, Justin Herbert got hurt. He was under pressure throughout the whole game, but I thought he actually played very well before he got hurt. He was playing with a lot of pressure, but he was actually throwing a couple of nice balls there. We'll see what happens. I hope he plays next week because I think next week they play the Kansas City Chiefs, so that's going to be a tough one. And we're talking about a physical team. The Chiefs is also a physical team, so that should be a good one. I don't know what to make of the Steelers offense. I know what the defense looks like, and if defense wins championships, that defense could take them to a championship. But how well Justin Fields keeps playing, or are they gonna talk about bringing back Russell Wilson? We'll see what happens there. They did rush the ball a little bit better though, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, so maybe that goes into effect. But we'll see what happens. But shout out, that defense is stout. That defense is definitely number one right now. There's definitely no way that no one's going to stop that. No one's going to run over them. No one's going to pass over them. It looks really, really good. In the next game, there was a surprise or shocker to most. It's Denver Broncos beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-7. I said it at the beginning of the year, and I said it the first 2 weeks, I'm waiting for Baker Mayfield to fall off. And it happened. Baker Mayfield was Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield of Texas Tech. He looked terrible. He would make terrible decisions there. It never happened. And then I don't know if it was a combination of just the Broncos' defense was better, but it was at Tampa Bay, so it's kind of weird because sometimes people like to make an excuse of the altitude up there in Denver, but that's not the case here. There's not much to say more here than Bo Nix played a very good game. You got to give it to the coach, Payne there, staying with Nix and keeping going, believing in him. He made some good throws, and they won the game. So there's not much really to analyze there besides Baker Mayfield was going to fall. I don't believe in Baker Mayfield. The other game that was a pretty good one, and I mean, if you're a Packers fan, it's not good if you're watching it. It was Green Bay over Tennessee. We all knew that Malik Willis is a revenge game, so that played very well. Malik Willis got his revenge. Packers look good. And it's amazing to me that Matt LaFleur is actually growing on me as a head coach. For the simple reason that if you can make Malik Willis look good, which if you ever watch him in Liberty, or as my little boy likes to say, Liberty. If you watch him in Liberty College or University, and then you watch him in the NFL in Tennessee, he looked bad. He looked like a coach. He looked like a quarterback that should not be in the NFL. There's no way that kid should be in the NFL. He should be third string or cut. But all of a sudden, the kid goes for 13 out of 19, 202 yards and a touchdown. And he has a game high of 73 yards rushing, which is kind of good. You got to give a lot of credit to Matt LaFleur. He really schemed there for Willis, made it his strengths, and his weaknesses. And he hit his weaknesses really well. I think it's one of those. It's kind of like Justin Fields. I think it's one of those like, hey, if the first read's not open when you're throwing the ball, just tuck and run. Don't throw it somewhere else. Don't try to be a hero. And then, of course, they always could count on the defense because Will Levis just sucks. He's probably one of the worst quarterbacks right now in the NFL. And that's what ended up happening there, especially that pick, that J.R. Alexander. I was watching that pick. Holy shit, I think I can make that pick, and I'm slow as shit. He just stared down the receiver. He literally just turned, just looked at him, and threw the ball. It doesn't get easier than that in a pick six. Like, J.R. Alexander was probably laughing the whole time, probably thinking he's not going to throw this. There's no way he throws this. And yeah, he threw it right there, and that was an easy pick. He is. I think Xavier McKinley also had another interception in that game, so he has three for in 3 games. Um, I don't know. Tennessee, like I said, they're probably the worst team in the NFL this week as far as I will say the Panthers too. But there's another one now that we brought up the Panthers. That's a shocker there. I don't know what to think about the Panthers or the Raiders. Mostly more questions about the Raiders than is the Panthers. The Panthers, yeah, I felt like Andy Dalton was going to play very well. A lot of people forget Andy Dalton did go to the playoffs his first 4 or 5 years in a row. I don't know if it was 5 years in a row, but it was for sure 4 years in a row. With the Bengals, he went to the playoffs. He couldn't do anything in the playoffs, but that is a pretty reliable backup quarterback now. But he was a starter at one point, and he played very well at one point. So that's not a shocker or surprise to me. It's a shocker and surprise to me how bad of a blowout that was. That was the incredible part of that. It was. I thought it would be a lot more closer game, but I don't know if the Raiders was just outcoached there. I don't know if they were just not preparing. They just overlooked the Panthers, saying, "Oh, the Panthers suck. They have sucked the whole year, and all of a sudden they're gonna keep sucking," and they just didn't prepare. Or maybe it's one of those things, and maybe Andy Dalton. Which makes the case a lot worse for Bryce Young. I feel bad for the kid because, like I said before, I do like him. I do like him a lot as a quarterback. If he was playing flag football, of course, I know I always say that at the end, but it's just he's so young, and then for him to get benched and then be like, hey, you know what? Let's see if Bryce Young is really the problem. Let's put in this backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, who hasn't played or started in what 3-4 years now. When's the last time he played? I think he played a little bit last year. But yeah, but besides that, let's put him in. Let's see if the offense is the problem. And then they scored 36 points. Yeah, it looks super bad for Bryce Young. I don't know if you trade him. I don't know what team would I think there's a lot of teams that will line up to trade him. One of them, I think, a sneaky team that will go in there and try to get him. At least I would think they would. The Rams with Sean McVay. They have the perfect kind of scheme. They're quick. And it's one of those schemes that Brian Jones really needs. He cannot hold on to the ball. It's one of those you have to take 1, 2, 3 steps and throw the ball. Bubble screens, a lot of that. Sean McVay does a lot of that. So, and I think if he was to go to the Rams, if the Rams were to trade it for him and then stay 1 year behind Matthew Stafford, who's a pro and really good. And eventually I think he's a Hall of Fame. He's actually, I believe, is a Hall of Fame. He's more Hall of Fame than Eli Manning, in my opinion, Matthew Stafford. It'll be good for him, and he can learn a lot, and he actually be a good quarterback there. And that's a sneaky team there. The Raiders, I think the Raiders are Cook. I don't think they're that good. Talking about Cook teams, Miami Dolphins look terrible. I knew Skylar Thompson? Is that the quarterback's name? Yeah, Skylar Thompson looked bad. It looked terrible, and then he got hurt again. And then you got Tim Boyle from last year. He played with the Jets, who looked like shit, and he looked like shit again. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think too much of the. I did say that as soon as I find out that Tua was going to be out for 4 weeks, I think Miami was done, and they're done. I think for the year. I don't think they're coming back anytime soon. Seattle, I don't know if they're still a pretender or they're actually really that good. They haven't played really nobody. If you really think about it, McDonald's defense, it's good. I mean, he made the Baltimore defense look really great last year, and I think the Baltimore defense led in every single major category: sacks, pressures, total yards. And then he comes to the Seattle Seahawks, and he's made them look really good. Also, it's unfortunate that Brian Murphy, the rookie there, got hurt. He might not play next week, but still, they look really, really, really good. The defense. And Geno Smith, you got to give it to him. And Geno Smith is quietly having a really good season. 3 weeks in, and he's 3-0. He's doing very well, and I could see Seattle being more of a contender than a pretender, really. But Miami's Cook. They're done. They're down to the third quarterback. I don't think anybody can throw, which is a waste because they have really such incredible fast weapons on offense. But you still need a reliable quarterback. Does Miami make a trade right now for a quarterback, for a backup quarterback somewhere? I don't know. But shit, if I was Miami Dolphins, take your chances. I know Tua might retire, and I would encourage him to retire. But if those are the thoughts of the Miami Dolphins, they're going to trade. Why not go grab a player like Trey Lance from the Cowboys, or maybe make inquiries about Bryce Young? That'd be fun. Because because Miami kind of runs the same offense as Sean McVay, so that would help him a lot. So that'd be interesting to see what they do there. I would at this point, especially if you know Vittoria's going to be out. I would trade for Bryce Young. See what happens there. See if you can make something happen. See if you can come back. The unfortunate part of that division is that you're playing the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills in that division. Buffalo Bills is looking good. The Jets look like they're stepping their game up a little bit also. So it might be a lost season for the Dolphins, which is unfortunate, like I said, because they have a lot of weapons. Their head coach looks like he wants to have a drink and relapse, because he looked tired. He looked bad. He looked like, what the hell is going on? How did I go last year, almost went into the division, really having an explosive offense, to all of a sudden I looked like ass? It's one of those things. But again, Miami, go for it. Maybe you want to go for it. Maybe you want to trade for two or something. The other games were the Commanders and Bengals. I'm not off the Joe Burrow train. I'm sorry. If somebody could come back from an 0-3 start and make the playoffs, it might be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was playing an incredible game last night. As much people want to give him blame, he still played a really good game. 29 for 38, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. They had a total of 436 yards, total yards, offense. I mean, what do you want the kid to do? You want him to play damn defense? You want him to kick the ball? Because that kicker should have made the damn freaking field goal there to make it closer, but they couldn't make it and missed it. And then you make Jaden Daniels look like the best incredible quarterback that came out. You made him look like C.J. Stroud from last year. I mean, you look at the stats and numbers of Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was 91%, 21 out of 23 passes. So when the quarterback throws less than 25 times, that means he's having that offense is destroying people. That was the first game in the whole history of the NFL that nobody had a punt or a turnover, and it's just incredible to me. It's incredible to me that you think that Joe Burrow is done. Joe Burrow is done. I forgot who I was listening to. What take was it? Who said it? Was it? Okay, was it Steven? No. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp says, stop making excuses for Joe Burrow. You're effing insane, Shannon Sharp. I know you're a big guy and you think you're smart and you have your little podcast out there and shit. But for you to say Joe Burrow has a lot of excuses and to stop making excuses for Joe Burrow played his damn mind last game yesterday. He can't play defense. I'm sorry if Cam Taylor-Britt decided to piss off Jaden Daniels in the offense, and all of a sudden 38 points to Cincinnati, for real, 38 points, that's what you're going to give up to Cincinnati Bengals? You got to be shitting me. There's no way you're going to win a game like that. Nobody's going to win games like that when you're giving up 38 points. Just go ask the Dallas Cowboys about that. But Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, they don't have Joe Burrow. I still believe in Joe Burrow, and I still believe if somebody can bring a team back from 0-3, it's going to be Joe Burrow. I have no doubt in my mind. Like I said before, if I had a choice between a quarterback, the number one pick, I had to pick up a quarterback, and his name was not Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow will be next. Joe Burrow is up there. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not going to be like what Dak said. I'm not going to get off that train. I'm definitely not. Joe Burrow's still the man, and I think Joe Burrow can get his shit together. Now is it time for maybe Zach Taylor to leave and get fired as a head coach? Maybe it is. Maybe it is time for him to go. But I'm not giving up on that. The other game, I'm going to say there was a blowout. Bills, Josh Allen. I can't say no more. We're going to go back to my segment that I like to call Top 5 QBs and Bottom 5 QBs. It's usually a quick analyst. If I had to, after 3 weeks, top 5 has to be Josh Allen, number 1 for sure. He's MVP. He's probably the front runner winning the MVP. Number 2, Sam Darnold. Played incredible. That was just an incredible game. Number 3, Geno Smith. Like I said, Geno Smith's been having a really quiet season. Really, really good season there, very quietly. Nobody's really talking about it. Matthew Stafford would be number 4. And number 5, I had to put Jaden Daniels, the rookie. The rookie's been playing really well. And he has the Commanders 2-1, and we'll see what he can do with that. I mean, you cannot dismiss the 21 out of 23. Sorry, passes 91%. I'm sorry, you just can't. Bottom 5's easy. I could say Bryce Young all day, every day, but he's not playing anymore, so I'm not going to pick on that kid anymore. He's already been picked on as much as possible. Number 1 would be Will Levis. He sucks. He's a turnover machine. it's maybe time to sit him down and maybe learn, just like Bryce Young. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Number two, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence just sucks. Yeah, he has a worse QB rating than Daniel Jones. He was 21 and 38 for 178 yards. And with Trevor Lawrence, the starting quarterback, the Jaguars have the worst eight straight losses. They have lost eight straight losses. That's an incredible number, especially from the pedigree and the talent that is Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what's going on there. Number three, Daniel Jones. I know he had a better game this game, but still I think he's a terrible quarterback. Number four, Gardner Minshew. And number five has to be, you can go either or here. You can go either Jacoby Brissett or you could go Anthony Richardson. I already talked about Anthony Richardson, the raw part. Jacoby Brissett, we all know he's just a guy that goes from team to team. He's a good backup quarterback. He doesn't have any business starting, so that's the way I have it. Now, my next segment will be top five teams and bottom five teams. Top five, I would have to say, has to be the Chiefs. So somebody beats the Chiefs, the defending champions, I'll have number one. Number two, Buffalo Bills, they're 3-0. Can't say much more about them. So they're MVP. Josh Allen. Number three, Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold, like I said, second best quarterback right now in the NFL. Number four, Pittsburgh Steelers. Defense, I'm going to say. I will say team, but the defense is really what's going on there. Number five, Seattle Seahawks. They're undefeated, and they're playing very well. And looking in on the top five, I would have to say either Houston or Green Bay. I'm leaning more to Green Bay for the simple reason they have a backup quarterback, and that backup quarterback is 2-0, and he looks like a reliable actual starter compared to the previous years he had in Tennessee. Houston just has all that talent, and eventually I think they get it together, and they jump into the top five. Now, bottom five, Carolina's always going to be up there, but for today, I'm going to have this is the second worst. Tennessee Titans has to be the worst team. Number three, Jacksonville Jaguars, for all the reasons I said earlier, Trevor Lawrence, the coaching, everything. Number four, I'm going to say the New York Giants, even though they won. Or you could put the Cleveland Browns, really. Actually, let's put the Cleveland Browns in there. It's kind of disrespectful to put the New York Giants after they beat the Cleveland Browns, but let's put the Cleveland Browns in there. And Deshaun Watson looks terrible. I'm sorry you don't have three offensive linemen, but your team looks terrible. And the only team you have beat is the team that I just said above you, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And number 4 or 5, number 5, you could either go, Giants, but Giants have a little bit more hope because they have a little bit that neighbor's kid, the wide receiver. So I'm going to go Miami Dolphins. Just because they're down to the third quarterback. Coach looks like he wants to drink again. Sorry if that's an offensive joke because I know he's a recovered alcoholic, but that's what that looks like. Other than that, it just looked terrible and there's no hope for them. And like I said, unless they make a crazy trade, that's what's going to happen there. Other than that, that's all I have today. I'll try to record Friday as far as my picks. We'll go over my picks, see what my record is after week 3, and then we'll make our regular picks. I am going to pick a team right now for the Thursday night game, and I'm going to say it's going to be the Cowboys. The Cowboys should win that game. They have owned the New York Giants the last 3-4 years. That Prescott record against the Giants is very good. But if the Cowboys do lose that game, I think they're out of the playoffs for sure. They're out of the playoff pictures. And you're going to have a very angry me the next day. I'll be very, very, very pissed off after that game. So, if you want to hear me pissed off and angry again, like the first rant that I had there at the beginning, maybe you want the Giants to win. But for all intents and purposes, logically, I would take the Cowboys, like I said. Maybe they get their shit together. But we'll see what happens that game. Other than that, have a good day, and thank you for listening.